There's no way that someone could go missing in Kennedy, but it happened.
In the past 20 years, more than 1 million people have gone missing in the state of Texas. Luckily, about 99% of those cases have been cleared, but that still leaves 5,600 people that are still out there. So our investigative team looked case by case across the state, and the one that we felt spoke to the problems we were discovering was the case of Jamie Mayberry out of Kennedy, Texas.
My family, the Mayberrys, I'm the youngest out of 8. Jamie, we grew up 1 year apart. He was older than I. I always do something to make you laugh. He was the jokester of the whole crowd.
He was very open about his lifestyle though.
Yes, oh yes.
In a small town, they're not used to it, being openly gay.
Well, you couldn't even tell that he was a man. And I told him I thought that was pretty dangerous.
Jamie Mayberry disappeared from his home on April 1st, 1999. He was only 35. His niece, who was the last person to see him, was just 18. I think until you're personally impacted by a loved one going missing, you don't realize how difficult it is to get answers. The police department and the city of Kennedy were really shutting us out when it came to open records, except for a single document, the front of the police report, and it was very basic information, which is why we kept asking more questions, and that really prompted the new police administration to take a fresh look at this case.
Growing up here in this small community, I knew who he was. We were friends. He was never judged as the cross-dresser that he was.
Do you feel like any of this was related to Jamie Mayberry's lifestyle?
Back then, it probably was.
It was he and I. We went out. There was a guy that was not from here. He was interested in my uncle.
He started hitting on Jamie, and once the cousin told him, you know that's a guy, he pulled out a knife, and my brother got up and took off.
What happened the next night?
There was a knock at the door. It was a guy, and he was like, "Hey, Jamie, you remember me?" I didn't get to see who was in there. It was dark. He asked him if he wanted to go and get some beers, and then we'll bring you back.
You heard his voice?
They had like a Mexican accent. The truck, when I peeked out the window, I could see the headlights. They backed up all the way and then drove out.
When did you first realize that he wasn't coming home?
After a few hours passed, we ended up calling the law enforcement at that time.
It was Kennedy police?
It was Kennedy police.
And they told you that he just wanted to leave?
Yeah, they were like, well, how do y'all know he's missing? I mean, he's an adult. You never know. He may have wanted to go. He may have went to go visit somebody.
I know my brother, yeah. He would not have left his niece. They didn't want to deal with this because of the way Jamie was. Because he was the homosexual, and I think he was brushed under the table, you know, almost as if I want this to stay buried.
Reading the reports, I didn't get the impression that they didn't take it seriously.
Did they talk to neighbors? Did they talk to family?
They talked to anybody and everybody that was mentioned at the time.
Hello. We're working on a story about a missing persons case. Just down the block, right up the road, across the street, 1999, Jamie Mayberry.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Did you live here then?
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to find people who lived here in 1999 to see if the police talked to them back then.
No, police never came and asked anybody that I know of. He didn't come by and talk to me or anything.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did what they could do, and then when they reached a certain level, or they needed more assistance, then they started calling in other partners.
The last person to see Jamie, his niece, says she wasn't questioned until state law enforcement got involved. That's the Texas Rangers. Based on the records that we've been able to pull together, it looks like the Texas Rangers weren't requested until sometime between 5 and 11 days after Jamie was officially reported missing. We had more questions. We felt like it was important to try to track down that ranger out of retirement.
I was hoping to talk to you about a case that it looks like you worked way back 20 years ago out of Kennedy, Texas.
Mayberry,
Should Kennedy have requested help sooner?
I wouldn't get called immediately unless there was something, really obviously wrong at the scene or something.
I'm just thinking it might be because Kennedy's a small town.
I'm not going to comment on, what another agency, if they should have done something. The bad thing is that getting called in, after the fact is kind of tough, makes it harder.
It's that very short window of time you have. You need to talk to witnesses, you need to talk to the neighbors, people around who might have seen something.
Now you've got to understand, this is Kennedy, a small community. Everybody showed up to look for Jamie. At this point, I feel the killers are among us. And then a rumor came and said, you should maybe search in that field over here.
A long time ago, in 1990, some person woke up angry at the world.
Heidi Seaman was snatched from near her San Antonio home.
And they found the most innocent, sweet, harmless soul they could find and did their worst.
Friends, family, and strangers took part in an extensive search.
Quickly attracting hundreds to help look for 11-year-old Heidi Seaman.
And Heidi's parents, of course, immediately sprang into action.
Searching continued at a nearby rock quarry where volunteers found other evidence that could have some bearing on the case.
Unfortunately, she was found deceased.
Wrapped in a trash bag in this Wimberley area field.
And her murder has never been solved.
And we hope that through this search center, people will remember, and we will be able to hopefully prevent this from ever happening to anybody else, because I don't want to see anybody go through what we've gone through.
The Heidi Search Center existed for 27 years and helped families with missing loved ones. We closed in January of 2018 due to too many cases and not enough funding. They've agreed to keep all of our files safe.
This is 27 years worth of files.
The files now, they're discombobulated, and there's 4,000 of them.
All it takes is a fresh look. We haven't found it yet.
See that stack right there? It's a needle in a haystack right now.
We've been searching for a couple of hours. This is 93. What years did these go back to?
7.
Not yet. Ah, here it is. Found it. All right, Jamie Mayberry.
We have the Heidi search team that came out.
We were searching all over this place. What I was told in days that went by with the Heidi Search Center, and it was pretty much we were looking for a deceased body. As hard as it might seem, that's what I was looking for. And we wanted to find it. We wanted some type of closure in some way.
These are the original case notes.
Yeah.
Last seen at 11 p.m. on Thursday, April 1st, 1999, and left home with an unknown male. He was wearing a beige, long-sleeve, button-down shirt with no collar, khaki shorts, and ladies' white slip-on tennis shoes.
Things they would be looking for would be tied to that description.
And carrying a black patent clutch purse.
And it was pretty high grass at that time. And so we all had sticks and we would be poking around. If you can see that area across the street, across there, that green patch way over there, we searched all of that over there.
We got Kennedy here, and then there was a field very near to the house that was searched.
There's another mention of an old cemetery.
This is where everyone who was on the search team would sign?
Yes, if everyone was there, which sometimes becomes very important.
The whole town almost shut down. We were split up. These people here and the neighbors all joined us.
And you can't help but think like,
yes.
Am I walking with the killer?
And that was a time someone changed our direction. And I even got suspicious of that, and it was, hey, let's check off this way.
Kind of like they're trying to steer you away.
It was that, we were just suspicious of everything, everybody, you know what I mean?
Well, you don't know who to trust.
Yeah.
At that point.
They even feel like the people that took James were out there searching at the same time.
Many times that's the case. Many times the reason we save all these records and they're so important is that the people that are responsible for the missing will be there in the searches.
If Kennedy police followed up with anybody that was on those search forms, they haven't told us.
While efforts on the ground might have stopped, the case continued to be updated over the years by the Heidi Search Center. In 2010, they took perhaps the biggest step in moving things forward.
It was the Heidi Search Center that entered Jamie Mayberry's information into a national missing and unidentified persons database, better known as NamUs.
NamUs is a great tool that most people should know about. It's a database where you can connect missing people with located bodies that haven't been identified. And after someone's missing a certain amount of time, we would have a procedure to make sure either we or someone else had entered them in NamUs to make sure all those dental records are in there, got their DNA documented. So if that body turns up somewhere, that could be a match.
One of the biggest benefits is the public having access to at least some of that information.
That is 100% true, that the public is the key here, because most of the cases we have solved have been due to the public. The other thing it does is put pressure on the person who caused him to go missing to realize the world is not going to stop looking for him.
All these years later, is there hope for Jamie Mayberry?
There is hope. That family actually can't give up. I've seen cases solved 10, 15, 20 years later.
My dad he was amazing. He was just a good man. He was a good-hearted man. He always, I can't do this. 1 second. His name is John Joseph Almendarez. He adored us. Our last contact was Father's Day 2002, which was right before he went missing. I just thought when you file a missing persons report, they're actively searching for the person that's missing. I didn't know they don't search. Of course, we would always search. I was watching a movie about a girl who was searching for her sister. At the end of that movie, it said that if you know anybody who's missing, go to this website. And that was the first time I ever had seen anything about NamUs.
NamUs is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. It existed since 2007, and it was a Department of Justice program. There was a need. The program is operated here in Fort Worth, the University of North Texas Health Science Center. It's paid for with, government funding, taxpayer dollars.
It's not uncommon for us to receive cases from family members, from law enforcement agencies, from medical examiners, coroners, even the general public, concerned citizens.
And we'll release this as the thumbnail.
The public have been really helpful to look at the NamUs system to pass along the information. They're able to share it with other people, and that's the most important thing, getting the word out. They're going to be able to see maybe a height, weight for a person when they were last known to be seen, a little bit of a description that kind of explains what happened.
What can't the public see?
Dentals, DNA, fingerprints, all of that information is restricted only to professional view, and that's because that is law enforcement sensitive information.
How do you make sure those cases are accurate?
We vet all of our cases with law enforcement before we publish those cases, so it goes through a process.
There are more than 15,000 active missing persons profiles in NamUs' public database. We know that about 8% of the cases are in Texas, and that includes Jamie Mayberry's case.
So if we look at Jamie's case, we can see that he was last seen leaving his home with an unknown male on April 1st of 1999, and he just hasn't been seen or heard from since. It's helpful to know that Jamie did have pierced ears and that he did wear a black wig. We have this information available if, for some reason, foul play has occurred.
Jamie Mayberry's profile was compared to 17 unidentified bodies in the NamUs database to see if there was a match. Unfortunately, there wasn't.
I will say that unidentified decedent cases have some really unique challenges. Depending upon the condition of the remains, it's often really difficult to determine race, ethnicity, hair color, eye color. How can we compare what we have in the database against the missing persons?
After talking to NamUs, we know to date there have been more than 1,000 cases that have been resolved because people have been able to make matches.
We've had family members of missing persons come into the NamUs database, search through the unidentified decedents, and essentially solve their own cases. They found matches to their missing person.
This is Buffalo Bayou in Houston, Texas. This is where my dad's body was found.
What happened to him?
The autopsy report from my dad says that it was an accidental drowning. From the time my dad went missing to the time he was identified, it took 12 years. The city had his missing persons report, the county had his body, and nobody connected the dots between that. I mean, I don't understand how that can happen. Hey, Daddy. Before you would come here, it would say unidentified Hispanic male. So this is the first time that I've been able to come out here where it actually has his name on his grave. Without NamUs, we would have never identified my dad. There should be no reason why, you wouldn't use a free tool to try and connect these unidentified bodies.
It's not a requirement to enter missing persons into NamUs in the state of Texas.
This should be mandatory in every state.
Chair lays out House Bill 3041 and calls on Representative Guerin.
In 2001, a lawmaker from Fort Worth named Charlie Guerin, it was his freshman term in the state legislature. He authored a bill that required police to submit DNA in missing persons cases to the University of North Texas Health Science Center, which is in Guerin's district.
Tonight I stand before you and ask for your favorable consideration on legislation that, in my opinion, addresses an issue of somber importance in the state.
So police can ask family members to submit their own DNA. If an unidentified body is found somewhere, then they can hopefully make a match and find out, is this my missing loved one?
There's over 200 unidentified bodies that we find each year in the state of Texas, some skeletal remains, others bodies, and there's not a DNA database to pull from to identify these people. Granted, this is a difficult issue to talk about, but for the families whom this bill affects, it is crucial.
And that's why NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, set up shop there too. This is a system that gathers all types of information in a missing persons case, not just DNA.
Fingerprints, dental records, other identifiers that could be really key to solving a case.
It's open to the public. This is a website that anyone can access.
What's shocking to some people is that not all police departments and investigating agencies are required to use it.
So a lot of the information that you'd think would be there isn't. Some states are being proactive though, like New York and Michigan, Tennessee, Illinois. They've all required their police to submit all missing persons information to NamUs. One state that doesn't do it though is Texas, even though NamUs is housed in our own backyard.
We're a state that doesn't require law enforcement to participate in NamUs, and the reason that we don't is because they already do.
The numbers tell us that not all of them are. There's 5,600 active missing persons cases in Texas right now, according to the FBI and DPS, but only 1,200 people are entered into the NamUs system. So it seems like there's a lot of people, that's just in the last 20 years, that are missing that aren't in the NamUs system.
If I thought that we being law enforcement in Texas were not participating in a meaningful manner, then I think it would be necessary for us to pass legislation that would require it.
Knowing that other states are requiring law enforcement agencies to report to NamUs, do you think it's at least something Texas should explore?
If we need to be part of NamUs in order to get police to submit the stuff, then we'll carry a bill and do that. I think that the more information that's out there on missing person, the more that's available, the better. I appreciate you bringing this to us.
Is this worth it to give up information we have to get the public's help? And that's a case-by-case decision.
But when you have a 20-year cold case?
Sure, at this point, right.
We've hit roadblocks in Jamie Mayberry's case because it's technically still open. The city of Kennedy has denied us access to all records except for a single document, the front of the police report. There is a section that's labeled suspects, and there are 3 names in that category.
As of today, we have no suspects. We have no persons of interest. We do have 1 or 2 people that maybe can give us information that we would like them to.
This is, if I remember right, this is the individual that's supposed to be in Chicago.
The first name on the list of suspects is a guy named Johnny Fuddies. Apparently he was visiting his cousin from out of town. His cousin, Albert Fuddies, is also on the suspect list. Now, he has an extensive criminal background. That includes assaulting a police officer, and the court documents show he even threatened to kill that officer's wife. So we've tracked down several possible phone numbers.
Hello?
Hey there, I'm looking for Albert Fuddies.
You have reached a non-working number.
He's apparently moved away from Kennedy.
The person you are trying to reach is not accepting calls at this time.
We think he might be living with his brother in Alice, Texas. Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Yeah.
His brother has given us a phone number.
Your call has been forwarded.
So we have left a message.
Last time I saw him, he's not in the best of health. He suffered a major stroke, and it's hard to understand him when he speaks.
There is one person we would like to talk to, I believe, who I would characterize as a witness at this point.
This is the person that's more of interest, in my opinion, right now.
How do you know that she might know something?
It stays the way it is until I can actually sit down and visit with this individual to really see, okay, you said this back then, what really did happen? Has there been a conscience there that's been bothering her? I wasn't able to make contact with her, and she never returned phone calls. This is where we're stuck at.
Hi. Looking for Diana Perez. Okay.
Sometimes it takes a little elbow grease to try to track people down, and sometimes they're hiding in plain sight.
He felt like he was a woman.
He was a cross-dresser. He liked to dress like a female.
People frowned upon because you didn't see that all the time.
Probably a big reason why he's been missing for as long as he has.
20 years, that's a long time.
Yes, sir.
If you're hitting up on a person that looked very attractive, and then you come to find out that the person isn't the person that you thought it was, it would probably aggravate one.
What do you think happened to Jamie Mayberry?
My speculation is he was probably murdered.
I believe it was a hate crime.
Absolutely.
You may think that you got away with something, but you didn't. It's never going to be over.
Investigations are like a puzzle. You're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together to get an answer. Law enforcement, it was my calling. You know, I've been doing it my adult life. Kennedy was the first police officer job I had. The chief of police at the time was a good friend of mine. His name was Irving Snell.
So he would have been in charge of the investigation?
Yes, sir, yes.
The chief told you he interviewed someone over the phone?
Yes, sir, he did.
So the first name on the list of suspects on the police report is Johnny Fuddies. Witnesses say that he went to this bar where Jamie Mayberry was that night and started hitting on him, and when he found out that he was not a woman, he got upset and got really threatening. Then after Jamie went missing, Johnny is nowhere to be found. We can't find him, and neither can police. Did he just get out of town fast?
A few days after Mr. Mayberry came up missing, and as a police officer, that would send up a little clue why.
Would you have done anything differently with the investigation yourself if you had been in charge of it?
I always do face-to-face interviews. You read body language that way, especially when you ask the tough question, you know, point blank. You want to see the reaction.
Back then, the Kennedy Police Department was pretty small. There were only 6 officers, and within a year after Jamie went missing, all of them had left the force. Those who we were able to track down weren't talking, or they wouldn't say much, only that they didn't remember very much about the case. And unfortunately, the lead investigator, which was the police chief from back then, he died a few years ago, which is why it was important to find someone who really knew what was going through his head at that time. So I tracked down a good friend and colleague who took me to a place where the two of them had actually searched for Jamie together. What was the thought that Jamie Mayberry might be in this cemetery or this area?
You know, somebody trying to hide his body or try to hide evidence, trying to locate a torn piece of clothing, a shoe, just anything that you wouldn't normally find in a cemetery.
This might be a coincidence, but we were in a cemetery talking about this case, and then we came across another court document from about a year after Jamie went missing. It also mentioned a cemetery. There was a guy who was picked up by 2 men and a woman in a car, robbed, and then beaten up. He was able to get free. He told police when he asked the driver, "Where are you taking me?" She said, "The cemetery." That driver was Diana Perez, and she went to prison for nearly 11 years in this incident for aggravated kidnapping and robbery. It turns out that's the same Diana Perez that is on a list of suspect names on Jamie Mayberry's missing persons report. We know she was questioned in Jamie's case, but no one was ever charged. And today, police tell us that she's only a witness. They still want to talk to her, though, to see if her story's changed after all of these years, but they tell us that they can't find her. We are out in the middle of nowhere.
I have my go-to sources that I like to try to find phone numbers and addresses. It's not always the first one that pops up.
Just go down this road, straight down this road, and then take a left.
This address didn't work out, let's move on to the next one.
Hey there, I'm looking for Diana Perez.
It's always exciting when you knock on that door and you're able to talk to them.
Hi, are you Diana?
Yes.
I'm Josh, I'm a reporter from Austin. We're working on a story about Jamie Mayberry. I wondered if you might know him.
You can get off my property right now is what you can do.
Okay, is there a reason you won't
You
talk
can
with
get
me?
off my property right now.
Okay.
We have a right to bear arms, and I'm not scared to use them, so get off my property right now.
Did you know that Kennedy police are looking for you?
Before I use force.
Did you hear that?
Josh sent me a video of the encounter and I watched it, and I had to watch it a couple times because I was like, I can't believe this happened.
You can get off my property right now.
So we share that with the detective, and so the text message says, "Before we left Kennedy, I tracked down Diana Perez at a home near 3 Rivers. Please let me know if you're able to reach her and move the case forward." Shows that he read the message, but there hasn't been any kind of response, and it's been several days.
My kids, boy, they would really love him. I talk about him all the time. I know your life goes on.
And he wouldn't want us to give up. He would tell us not to give up, to keep fighting.
Right. Tell me your name.
Terry Mayberry.
Terry, tell me a little bit about your family's story, what we have been kind of investigating for a while.
We grew up in Kennedy, Texas. Come from a large family of 8 kids. Pretty much everybody knows us down there. And my brother and James Mayberry, one particular night, Jamie went off with a couple of guys, according to my niece, and never returned.
Hello. We're working on a story about a missing persons case. Just down the block, right up the road, across the street, 1999, Jamie Mayberry.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I really do feel that the police department was a little biased towards my brother being who he was, transgender.
Trying to find people who lived here in 1999 to see if the police talked to them back then.
No, police never came and asked anybody that I know of. He didn't come by and talk to me or anything.
You know, what we have accomplished so far, it's brought awareness to the community for sure. We went from being buried and dead to there's hope and there's closure right around the corner.
This is 27 years worth of files. It's here.
Nothing?
Not yet. Ah, here it is. Found it. All right, Jamie Mayberry.
The research, the study, the work, the hours put into what you guys put in to get something heard, and for a family you might not even know.
NamUs is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System.
There are more than 15,000 active missing persons profiles in NamUs' public database. We know that about 8% of the cases are in Texas, and that includes Jamie Mayberry's case. Jamie Mayberry's profile was compared to 17 unidentified bodies in the NamUs database to see if there was a match. Unfortunately, there wasn't.
We've hit roadblocks in Jamie Mayberry's case because it's technically still open. The city of Kennedy has denied us access to all records except for a single document, the front of the police report.
There is one person we would like to talk to, I believe, who I would characterize as a witness at this point.
We know she was questioned in Jamie's case, but no one was ever charged. And today police tell us that she's only a witness.
You were up there and at a lady's house threatening you, to bear arms at you.
Josh, I'm a reporter from Austin. We're working on a story about Jamie Mayberry. I wondered if you might know him.
You can get off my property right now, is what you can do.
Did you know that Kennedy police are looking for you?
Before I use force.
Keep it up, because there are people just like me, many families, and you know that already, that want to have you guys, wish they could have you guys in their lives, whether nothing comes out of this at all, that we know and we feel that what you guys have done for us, it means more than what anybody has done thus far.
For many Texas families, it's been their last hope to find a missing loved one. A program called NamUs is short for the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. It's based in North Texas and was created to help police and families solve cases using fingerprints, DNA, dental records, and other details. In Texas alone, since 2007, this national database has helped to resolve 600 cases, but thousands remain open in the system, and many others have never been entered. KXAN Investigators first told you about NamUs almost 2 years ago. That's when just 6 states had passed laws requiring police and medical examiners to report all missing and unidentified person cases to this database, which is available to the public.
Since then, other states have joined the effort, but still not Texas. KXAN investigator Arezow learned a new state lawmaker is determined to change that, hopefully helping more families find closure.
He was always kind of the life of the party, just really had a great personality.
David Fritz can't help but light up when he talks about his son, Joseph.
He really excelled.
He's the proud father of the Marine from Houston.
Joseph didn't always smile in pictures, but that one, he was definitely smiling after boot camp.
David says his son only served 2 years before he was injured at a base in North Carolina and honorably discharged. After that, he says personal problems led his son to depression and then opioid addiction.
One day, he decided he needed to get away, which I encouraged him as well, just to have a trip, try to clear his mind. He went to South Texas, and that was the last I'd heard of him.
That was in October of 2017. David says he knew Joseph had gone to Laredo, but after days of not hearing from him, worry set in. He filed a missing persons report with Houston police and later in Laredo and even Mexico, and then headed south looking for Joseph himself. What he found was his car at the border, but no signs of his son.
It was so hard, difficult at times, asking people on the street, with a photo of your son, if they had seen him.
He did that for almost 2 years. Finally, the call he dreaded came from Houston police telling him Joseph's body had been recovered in the Rio Grande River in Laredo. What was odd was it was found 2 days after the first missing persons report was filed.
No one's sharing information, or there is one spot, but it's voluntary, which doesn't do any good.
KXAN uncovered that Texas law enforcement and medical examiners aren't always entering information in every case to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, or NamUs, based in Fort Worth. David believes if the medical examiner in Laredo had entered details about Joseph's remains in the database, he would have found him because he was checking regularly.
If Joseph's brown hair, brown eyes, and his weight had been entered, I wouldn't have been tortured for 2 years, you know.
David says Joseph's DNA was required to be entered into another database maintained by the FBI called CODIS. It was only after his family had put Joseph's information into NamUs and then submitted their own DNA to cross-reference years later that there was actually a match with his remains.
If everybody was required to enter information in NamUs, then everybody would use it.
10 states have now passed laws requiring law enforcement to report case details to NamUs for all missing and unidentified persons cases. Even though the system is housed in Fort Worth, Texas doesn't have that reporting requirement.
I just assumed it was something that already took place.
Lacey Hall found that out when she knocked on David's door last year.
Hello?
She was running to become his state representative and block walking his neighborhood before the November election.
And I brought up NamUs and what I'd gone through.
I just thought how many other people are suffering, and it's bad enough to have your loved one missing and not knowing.
She said, you know, I think it's something I could help with.
I said, when I win, I'm going to do this. Like, this is something that we need to help Texas families have closure.
Representative Hall was sworn into office last month. Her first action, filing House Bill 1419. It will require law enforcement or medical examiners to enter information into NamUs, including dental records, fingerprints, and clothing descriptions of missing persons within 30 days and unidentified bodies no later than 60 days.
There is, zero fiscal impact to the state. This actually, in the long run, will end up saving time, money, and resources for the agencies involved by matching up the missing persons cases with the unidentified bodies.
What would it have meant for your family?
I would have immediately located Joseph's remains. We also would have been able to have a complete autopsy, you know, before all those remains were destroyed for toxicology.
David says all they know is his son's cause of death, drowning. He was buried as John Doe in a Laredo cemetery. Last February, David was finally able to find the grave and bring him home.
It's horrible for a family to have to go through this. At least I'm one of the lucky ones that I still feel blessed in that I was able to locate Joseph.
The bill will not require previous cases to be entered into NamUs, only cases moving forward. Representative Hall says that's how they can keep it at no cost. This was something State Representative Charlie Guerin told our team nearly 2 years ago he would look into because he's worked on a related system in the past.
Knowing that other states are requiring law enforcement agencies to report to NamUs, do you think it's at least something Texas should explore?
If we need to be part of NamUs in order to get police to submit the stuff, then we'll carry a bill and do that.
After trying to reach Representative Guerin several times, his chief of staff finally responded back telling us he's still interested in this particular issue. Why him? Well, NamUs is in his district, managed by the University of North Texas Health Science Center, which also has a separate forensics lab. At this point, though, it's not even clear how long NamUs will even stay in Texas. Sources tell us funding cuts have impacted services, including DNA testing. A spokesperson with the program says the current agreement with the university is up in September, but the NamUs will remain an available resource for all those who rely on it. Arezow, Doost, back to you.
Arezow, thank you. And as we mentioned, this is an issue we've been following for almost 2 years. After launching our investigation, Mayberry, Texas, you may remember we shared this Houston woman's story. Alice Almendarez was desperately looking for a lawmaker who would change reporting requirements when someone disappears. Even though she'd filed a missing persons report, it took 12 years to learn what happened to her father, John. His body had been found near his home just weeks after he disappeared, but it was labeled unidentified until years later when NamUs got involved.
I want this to change. I want this to stop. I know what it feels like, and I don't want anyone else to feel that, especially for longer than they have to.
Alice says what's hardest is her father never got to meet his grandchildren. Last year, she welcomed a baby boy and named him after her father. Now she's working closely with Representative Hull on her bill, which, by the way, is called John and Joseph's Law, after Alice's father and David Fritz's son. We've taken a deeper dive into what it's taken to get this bill to become reality in a new episode of our Catalyst podcast. You can find a link by going to missingintexas.com right now.
Emotional testimony from families pushing for a law that would require the use of a national database to solve missing and unidentified persons cases. John and Joseph's Law was presented and voted out of a Senate committee unanimously today. That law would require law enforcement, medical examiners, and justices of the peace to enter case details into NamUs, or the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. The information would include dental records, fingerprints, and clothing descriptions. The bill is named after two Houston men who went missing for years. Alice Almendrez told lawmakers today that NamUs helped her track down her missing father's body after more than a decade.
My dad's case was never taken seriously. It was reopened by NamUs, entered into the NamUs database. Our DNA was taken, and my father was linked to our DNA, and he was eventually identified 6 months later.
The bill is now headed to the Texas Senate floor and then the governor's desk if it passes. This is an update to our Missing in Texas investigation, which discovered that 10 states have passed laws with similar requirements. NamUs, which is federally funded, has been based in Fort Worth, but officials recently announced that it will be managed now by a research institute in North Carolina later this year.
A bill to require the use of a national database to solve missing persons cases is headed to the governor's desk. It's a direct result of our Missing in Texas investigation. Investigator Arezow Doost breaks down what's next from the Capitol.
It's a bittersweet day for the families who made the trip to the Capitol a number of times this session and pushed for this law.
HB 1419 is finally passed.
It took senators about 30 seconds to pass John and Joseph's Law unanimously. This means if Governor Greg Abbott signs it, law enforcement, medical examiners, and justice of the peace will soon be required to enter case details into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, or NamUs. Those details would include fingerprints, dental records, and descriptions of missing children or persons, and must be entered into NamUs within a certain time frame. This law is named after John Almendarez and Joseph Fritz, both from Houston and both who were missing for years. Their families say NamUs helped with their cases and finally gave them closure.
My dad has pretty much been here with me the whole way because he's my motivation behind this. I believe that Joseph and my dad, they mattered.
I think it's going to be great for families and great for law enforcement. Just to not have to suffer for years looking for a loved one. It's bad enough losing one of your loved ones, but trying to locate them for years and all you go through.
NamUs is federally funded, so it wouldn't cost Texas any additional dollars to use the database, which can also be used by family members.
A bill requiring the use of a national database to solve missing persons cases has been signed by Governor Greg Abbott. It is a direct result of our Missing in Texas investigation. Texas senators unanimously passed John and Joseph's Law last week. This means law enforcement, medical examiners, and justice of the peace will soon be required to enter case details into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, or NamUs. Those details include fingerprints, dental records, and descriptions of missing children or persons. And it must be entered within a certain time frame.
Since 2021, a new state law has required Texas police to enter critical details into a national public database within 60 days of receiving an official missing persons report. That online system, NamUs, has helped police and families get answers, close cases, and solve crimes. The number of Texas cases has increased tremendously since the new law went into effect. In the year before, only about 350 Texas cases were entered into the database. In the year after, that number entered entered jumped to nearly 1,000. Still, DPS data we obtained shows Texas police have actually received more than 64,000 missing persons reports since the start of the new law, meaning there are potentially thousands of cases they could have entered into NamUs but didn't.
KXAN investigator Arezow Doost takes a closer look at some loopholes in the law and why its author is now taking a closer look at our discovery to help more families in the future.
I'm going to walk this way. I want to see who's in these tents here. Hello, ma'am.
Susanna Arroyo anxiously walks along Cameron Road in Austin, looking for her older brother, Seferino Ibarra.
I'm looking for my brother, Sam.
She's made the trip from Tyler many times before, hoping to find him.
The last time I spoke to him, he had lost his apartment. He was living homeless on the streets.
She says Ibarra is a veteran and was diagnosed with cancer.
So I'm just concerned that something will happen to him and we won't know.
You hear stories of people just wanting to disappear, but does that sound like your brother?
I don't know what all is going on in his life, you know, that would make him want to not, you know, communicate with us any longer.
After not hearing from her brother for months and his cell phone going silent, Arroyo says she filed a missing persons report with Austin police in early 2021. What have you been told by Austin police?
I was told that he is still homeless, that he had involvement maybe sometime this year, that they've known something about him.
She says APD didn't consider him missing and never reported his case to NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. It was just months before a new law went into effect requiring police to report to NamUs. If he had gone missing months later, they would have been required to by the new law. So Arroyo did it herself and created his profile.
I think about him every day since he's been missing, every day. Every day I prayed to God.
She finally got a call in December that he'd been spotted.
My brother had been here to the office. He was here trying to get a birth certificate.
She immediately drove to Austin.
I know it's going to happen today.
We followed along as she searched for answers near this homeless camp.
I'm looking for my brother. I heard he's in this area.
Oh, that's Bruce, ain't it?
Petey, Seferino, Sam.
You gotta know who that is.
That's Pete. Yes.
That's Pete.
Yes, I'm his sister. Where is he?
Wait a minute. Hold on. He stayed with me last night. He's supposed to come back tonight.
It was the closest she had come to finding someone who might know him.
And you guys are for real.
Yeah.
You guys are for real.
Her family is one of hundreds with loved ones in the NamUs database from Texas. About 20 of the more than 600 Texas cases entered after the new law were done so by family or close associates. Most, 450, were by NamUs staff, medical examiners, or law enforcement.
HB 1419 is finally passed.
State Representative Lacey Hall wanted to require law enforcement to report to NamUs after working closely with two Houston families who had missing loved ones, and they felt faster police action would have helped their cases.
It's the impact that it makes to these families. Just hearing that someone cares and that something is being done to try and help them means the world to these families. We have seen agencies, a huge uptick in reporting of cases, and we see compliance and we see these agencies wanting to make these reports.
But the law has no penalty for those agencies that might not be reporting to NamUs. We know each time someone files a missing persons report with Texas police, that agency is required to submit the name and other important details to the FBI's National Crime Information Center, or NCIC, within 2 hours. That's something the public can't see. Police have to submit public details to NamUs within 60 days of receiving the missing persons report. While it's likely some cases are cleared before that 60-day time frame is up, it's also likely many other cases are just never entered into NamUs by police.
I think a lot of it is awareness. I don't believe that overall that there's agencies out there who are unwilling to comply. I think a lot of it is just some of them don't know.
We learned the state doesn't track compliance, and the law doesn't say who should enforce the requirement. Can the law be improved?
I would say that there is, always possible room for improvement. And that's why right now we're on the education campaign and trying to make sure that there is compliance. And overall, for the most part, there is, especially in these larger areas.
Hall says she wants to review the data we've gathered. She says if any agencies are running into problems following the law, she wants to know why.
There are heartbroken families out there that are desperate to find their loved ones, and the few minutes of their time to put that report into NamUs can change someone's life.
Texas is now among 13 states to pass laws mandating the use of NamUs. Other states we checked also don't have any enforcement measures.
We don't want to, penalize people for if they're truly trying or they just truly don't know. If they don't have the resources and they don't have awareness, we want to give them the chance to be able to do that, the education and those resources to be able to do it.
Thank you.
For families like Ibarra's,
Now all we gotta do is sit here and wait.
the search isn't over. His sister says a stronger law would help other families dealing with unimaginable anguish.
I hope I find him. I'm gonna be watching that bus stop and see if he comes in on it.
Remember, since the law went into effect in 2021, Texas police have 60 days to enter new cases they receive into NamUs. Of the other states we checked with similar requirements, it's between 30 and 45 days, meaning the public can potentially see cases in those states and possibly help a lot faster. Representative Hall's office tells us the Texas timeframe was put in place to be less of an administrative burden on police, and shortening that would not help with compliance. Hall also tells us requiring police to submit cases to NamUs they received before the law went into effect, cases like Susanna's brother's, would be too costly, taking more time and resources. Luckily, entering her brother's case into NamUs and other missing persons sites herself paid off. That same day she traveled to Austin to search, Susanna actually found him and is now helping get him more permanent housing.
And Arezow, before the law, police still had the option of sharing cases with NamUs, even though it wasn't required. Why didn't Austin police do that with her brother's case?
APD tells me that his case did not meet its criteria for a missing person. They classified it as a request to locate, since his family said he was likely experiencing homelessness.
My father is John Joseph Almendares. My dad was held in the county morgue and buried unidentified, where he was held for 12 years as we searched for him.
My son Joseph Fritz went missing and wasn't notified of the finding of his remains until 2 years later.
HB 1419 is finally passed.
When John and Joseph's law went into effect in 2021, Alice Almendares and David Fritz had big hopes. It was named after their loved ones, whose bodies were identified after they discovered the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs.
My dad was listed as an unidentified Hispanic male for so long. To know that people actually know his name now and his name will never be forgotten again means so much to me.
I am proud of it. I wish that there was more participation in it, but I do realize it takes time.
The law requires police across the state to enter cases into NamUs within 60 days of someone filing a missing persons report. And roughly the year after the law went into effect, NamUs says only 450 professional users, which include police, enter Texas cases. But DPS data we obtained during that same time frame shows nearly 6,500 missing persons cases were reported by Texas police to the National Crime Information Center, a tool only for law enforcement and not cleared within 60 days when the law requires Texas police to submit cases to NamUs. That discrepancy may mean thousands of cases might never have been entered into NamUs by Texas police. The agencies with the most cases in that DPS data beyond 60 days: Houston, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth Police Departments, and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
What do you think when you hear the law named after your loved ones not being used like it should?
It's disappointing, but I do see a little progress. I think it's just going to take a little more time and awareness for law enforcement to really utilize it.
Once these law enforcement can see how it's helping and maybe spread the word, not hear it from us, but hear it from each other, like how many cases they've been able to solve by entering these people into NamUs, I think that's going to help tremendously. And this law is just a start.
Almendarez and Fritz know NamUs made a difference in their cases.
If we don't figure it out, then I feel like our work is almost for nothing, because if it's not being used everywhere or all over Texas, and honestly in every state, then it's not doing what we push for.
They're now doing what they can to raise awareness by empowering families to enter their own cases instead of waiting for police.
Just the unknown torment, just having to go through that is really unexplainable. And if there's a more efficient and effective way, why not use it?
Arezow, KXAN Investigates.